our instructors were able to turn us from hothouse flowers into world-class fighters, or at least Wonder Women, but this is not the case just yet. So I will be telling you a personal story instead. I was attacked in the early 1990s when I accidentally opened the front door of the house I lived in to a couple of strangers, thinking it was my husband coming home. The attack was vicious, and the outcome was dreadful. There was a bloody bath on the floor where I was fighting for my life, trying to survive and to keep my dignity at the same time. I didn't know any self-defense techniques. I was using my bare hands and teeth the best way I could to fight two adult men who were drunk at the time and who believed I would be an easy target for them. My pleas for help went unanswered. They just didn't budge. And I vividly remember reaching the point where I would soon lose my consciousness if I stopped fighting. But I fought, and I succeeded. Both my main attacker and me met at the same hospital in the early hours of the morning when I was being brought to the reconstructive surgeon. I am still puzzled as to how I survived that night, but I guess a piece of me was indeed a Wonder Woman. Many years passed. I fully recovered. It was magical recovery given the circumstances, thanks to the wonderful doctors, my friends, my foster mom and dad. And trust me, I'm not the one to collect my traumas and PTSDs and keep living in them while soaking in victimhood. But then another thing happened that brought frightful memories back to life. I was in Israel in October of 2023. My foster dad, who is now 92 and who is still teaching kids physics, doing sit-ups in the morning and going to the Mediterranean Sea for an occasional swim, got into a hospital, and I felt the urge to go and see him. In the early morning of October 7th, when the sirens went off all over Israel, and when it felt like the bombs were exploding right over my head, we didn't know that the longest war in the history of Israel would start. We didn't know we'd lose 1,200 people in one day, and 200 more would die from their injuries in the following days. We didn't know about the hostages. We didn't know about compromised borders, 2 kibbutzes under siege, hundreds of wounded, shortages of blood in Israeli hospitals, and the ongoing nightmare that doesn't end to this day. After coming back home on October 17th, I believed that I would finally start sleeping better without sirens waking me up every morning, and without the need to run to a bomb shelter every few hours. But I came back to the rising anti-Semitism, attacks on Jewish students on campuses, vandalism of the Jewish places of worship, swastikas in schools, disproportionate amount of lies in the media, and the world's utter helplessness and inability to fight the terrorism and protect its Jewish population. When my friends from Newton would tell me that the pictures of Israeli hostages have been ripped off their own private properties over and over again, I'd be concerned. When they would tell me that their kids were bullied in colleges for being Jews, I'd become worried. But when they have told me that they were seriously considering getting guns to protect themselves, I get scared. I remember sitting in my living room, unable to go to bed because I was afraid that some aggressive lunatic would break into the house. I remember tossing and turning till 3 o'clock in the morning, attentively listening to every strange noise from the outside. And I remember driving myself crazy thinking how I would defend myself in case of an attack. Now back to the Wonder Woman part. Of course, the recovery didn't happen overnight, and there were many steps in getting myself better and my inner peace back. My sleep back, and most importantly, getting my critical thinking back. The one where instead of feeling scared and doing nothing about it, I started taking the necessary steps to feel better. For me, one of the most important parts of feeling safer was the self-defense course, which isn't just a course, but as Matt and Leah said, it's a lifestyle. I still have concerns, and I still feel scared sometimes. But now I have mental and physical skills to be able to remain calm, and I have a growing sense of safety in my everyday life. StandStrong has helped me in my personal journey. The course I took with Miriam and Leah had people from different life experiences and different backgrounds. But the atmosphere in the room was always friendly, humble, encouraging. And we all left feeling more empowered and more prepared in case of a danger. This is something I believe everyone in my life needs. And now, more than ever, this is something I believe we need to continue. And with your support, StandStrong can continue its positive impact on our communities, on people like me and people like you. Thank you very much for listening to me and being part of the journey.
Thank you, Sharon, for speaking.